Okay, that's fine. Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming to the AGM. So I will start, well, thank you for coming, and actually what I forgot to do last year is to get my esteemed colleagues to introduce themselves and their role and what they do. So Ian has the mic, so it's right.
I'm Ian Harper. I am the Treasurer of the Association.
I'm Tom Rowland. I am the Membership Secretary for the Association.
Andrew Hunfield, Company Secretary.
Hello, I'm Greg Moore. I'm the editor of the 16mm today.
Hello, Jonathan Mead, joint editor of the Bulletin.
Hey everyone, I'm Harry Jones. I'm also the editor of Bulletin, joint editor.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm Alan, Chairman. So, we'll start off with the agenda. So, there's the introductions. Any apologies for absence? Andrew?
We have one apologies from a former chairman.
Okay, lovely.
We've written back to him saying thank you very much. Unfortunately, he's unable to attend.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Minutes of the last AGM, so these are previous circulated bulletin. Any comments?
No. What number of members have we got present?
Darren, we have a quorum of just over 50. Otherwise, we
wouldn't have started. Okay, anything on the minutes? Last? No? Okay. Director's report, so we'll run through the agenda. So director's report for last year, profit and loss, article, change in article association, elected directors, appointment of the appeals panel, appointment of auditors, awards and recognition, and any other business. So these are the figures, so these are in the accounts that were published, which you have a copy in front of you. You can all read, so I'm not going to go through all the stuff. Here, read the things as well. So, cost of sales were up. We made a loss. Yes, you can see the figures there. Yeah, it's something which we've had to look at closely this year. The operating costs of everything, the show, etc., etc. We've just recently changed our postage supplier from Royal Mail to Whistle, which will hopefully save us, we reckon, about £4,000 a year. So it's a significant saving. So these are things which we're having to look at all the time. So cost of sales increased by over 18,000.
Chairman?
Yes, Mike.
It's a massive increase in loss, so not to go through it in minutiae, but what were the headlines of the difference?
In summary, so the sales, we were down about 7,000. The cost of the adverts, we lost about 3,000 in revenue from the adverts. And the cost of the web licenses, etc., all that went up by about 3,000. So there's 13,000.
Okay, thank you.
So admin fees went up. We made a loss last year, about 5,000 on the show. Magazine printing costs, this is all in the news, you see this every day, everything's going up unfortunately. And the postage cost of magazines, so we've just made a change on that, so hopefully that will figure through. And the insurances and licenses there keep on going up, unfortunately. There's the balance sheet. So you can see that the overall reserves there have gone down from 81,000 to 63,000. much we can say on that. So obviously we had with the loss, we had to take that from the reserves to cover everything, and that's why there's our savings have gone down. Any questions on the accounts before I move on? Yes.
Thanks. Mike Docker, 3552. In the past, when we've made a profit, we've kind of given the hint that we really don't want to make so much of a profit, and we've introduced, loss lead is probably not the right word, but we've had freebies to reduce the profit, etc.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, that isn't going to be happening anytime soon, I'm imagining. Has anything had to be put on hold that would have been going and had the situation been better?
Okay, so to elaborate on that, so yeah, where there's been a profit, we've tried to feed back. So if you recall some of the special magazines, so we've had the I can't think of it. Lane Buzzard for one, yes, that's the one. Yeah, so there is, which was from a couple of years ago, there is a Talathin guide which is imminently due out. Do we know when? Anyone?
I mean, the manuscript is ready. We're just looking to make the final changes to formatting. But your question is very pertinent, because should that be released as a paper document to all members, or should we simply turn it into an electronic file that people can access through their membership? Because it would be a significant saving, and you can see in which direction our reserves are moving.
So yeah, so that was from the last time. It's taken a while because various issues, which I won't go into yet, but there's been, so that's what we've been doing. So yes, there's that. There's nothing in the pipeline, but yes, if there was a substantial profit, then yes, we'd look at trying to feed back in something similar. That's for the benefit of you. Okay, pleasure. Mike.
Mike Riley, 4583. To release it as an electronic only file would be a mistake in my view. I think you really do. It should be a paper copy.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Just as a comment, I don't want to go too far away from the gist of what we're saying, but if you've got the Talathin guide, which I noticed in the thing when I was reading it last night, can you not put that out instead of a regular 16mm today and jump a 16mm today, so that you save a bit on one printing and get the Talathin guide out as well?
It's an idea, but I think anyone that wasn't interested in the Talathin may have issues with that. I'm not saying it's not, but yeah, it's an idea. But I think that if someone didn't like the Talathin, they may think, oh, that's a waste of a thing. So it's an idea. We can discuss it. But okay, thank you. Okay, on to resolutions and elections. So first ordinary resolution. That the report, the directors and the accounts be accepted. Can I have a proposer? Thank you.
Yeah, we need a second.
And a seconder?
Yeah.
Mike Docker. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Jonathan introduced himself, so he's the co-editor of Bulletin, and we co-opted.
We formally need a vote.
Oh, sorry. Right, show of hands then, please, if everyone's. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. So Jonathan was co-opted onto the board, and he's now standing for election to be a director. Anything you want to say?
I don't have anything prepared other than what I wrote for the election statement I think went out in the last mailing. But obviously if anybody wants to ask me anything, now is a good time.
Silence, we take that as enough. Thank you. Right, so can I have a proposal, please, for Jonathan to be?
Mike Riley, 4583.
Lovely. And a seconder, please.
Alan Regan, 1847.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Mike. Show of hands, please. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Congratulations, officially welcome to the board. Thank you very much. Okay, Tom, our membership secretary, it's up for re-election. Anything you want to say?
I don't think there's much to add now beyond what I've wrote in the report. Hopefully the past 3 years you've been happy with what I've done and happy for me to do another 3 years.
Can I have a proposer, please?
Dan Smith, 855.
And a seconder.
Alan Regan, 1847.
Thank you very much. I think the applause says it, but we'll have to can we have a show of hands, please? Excellent. Thank you very much. Chris Trommers. Chris can't be with us today, but Chris is up to be re-elected, so he's our technical director. He's happy to carry on doing what he's doing, and regrets that he can't be here today. Something to say? Yeah, nothing more to say. Okay. If you're happy, can I have a proposal? Yes.
Mike Riley, 4583.
Mike Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Show of hands for those in approval, please. Thank you very much. Okay, next one, ordinary resolution. Sounds legalish. This is location, attendance and speaking at general meetings. The company shall hold an annual general meeting at such a time and place as may be determined by the directors. The general meeting may be held as a physical, hybrid, it's part physical, part online, or online meeting. So that's bringing an online thing, which when the association was set up hadn't been invented, but we're looking with COVID, which obviously stopped us doing things and people getting out. So we're just looking to build some resilience and flexibility for the future in case something happens. Obviously the main plan is to keep holding physical ones like this, but we need to have something as backup. We can do it anyway, but we'll get an opinion on it. Mike?
How do you propose to handle voting?
Yeah, perhaps I can answer that because we've been in contact with organisations that advise associations, and their recommendation was to get professional help to organise it, because you need to be able to count the votes. You need to, just as we've physically done here, you need to check with the members. So, yes, it's something new, it is technically feasible, and the company, company law says you can do it since COVID. So it's all above board. Their recommendation is simply make sure that your members know that this is an option. It's not our favourite option, but it is an option. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
It is also the case that the reason that we're able to hold an AGM in person and get 50 people here is because we do it on the back of the national show.
Correct. Exactly.
And if the national show ceased to be viable commercially, then there needs to be a backup option, and in the near term, that is probably the more likely deployment of this capability.
Correct. Yes. So it's just about building resilience so that we can cover eventualities. So can I have a proposer, please? Yeah, that's right. And a seconder, please. Oh. Okay, and a show of hands, please, for those in favour. Lovely, thank you very much. Changes to the quorum at board meetings. So we currently have 6 directors, now 7, now that Jonathan, but we have had some times where at our board meetings we haven't had enough directors to vote, and so we've had to postpone it, which is fine because we just do it by an email vote afterwards. It's fine, a bit clumsy, but so we're just trying to again build some flexibility that we, you know, there can be sickness, family things, work, holidays. So we're just trying to build some resilience. So the proposal is that we reduce the thing from 5 to 4.
Is that reasonable? Sorry.
Yes, please.
Is that reasonable now you've increased the number of directors?
Just trying to build resilience. If we had 6 or 7 every time, then that's fine. So we're just looking. We've had sometimes where we've only had 3 or 4. So we just.
It does mean that less than half of the directors could pass a motion.
In practice, it wouldn't. If there's not enough, we just postpone it. We don't. We can't vote on it, so we postpone it. And yeah.
No, it doesn't. What that says is, it is possible for 2 directors of the association to make a decision on behalf of all the members. That's what that says. Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong, please. No, that's right. Right.
One of which being the
2
chair.
will be a majority.
Yes, 2 would be a chairman. The chairman's casting vote to look at the articles. That's one of the things we provide for, and another director.
So you've got uneven numbers, you don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, that with the uneven number, I realise, I mean, when you do jury duty, you have 12, by the way. The uneven number works as long as one doesn't abstain. As soon as somebody abstains with an odd number, you're back to an even number. So, you know, I really get the point you're making. I can just say from practice, previous 12 months, when I've been company secretary taking minutes, we've had 2 occasions where we've simply had to stop because we weren't quorate. And come back with a second email-based message meeting. So it's not about 2 people taking a decision, because we've always taken decisions with both directors and with officers. That's the way that we operate. It's more about actually being able to take decisions if something really needs to be done quite quickly. And there have been occasions last year when that really was the case. So this is a balance between practicality and democracy.
Mike?
All I was thinking was, you say you use email and it's quite clumsy, and I can appreciate that, but was the possibility of doing it by Zoom, for example?
We already meet by Zoom.
So there are Zoom meetings that people even
All
on
our
Zoom
meetings are
cannot attend?
Yeah, we
Right, okay.
3-4 years ago, don't quote, we used to meet physically,
Yeah.
but we've gone Zoom meetings, so it's all online now.
So it's all
Correct.
online.
Yeah.
So it's for those exceptional occasions where the board needs to take a decision which is time critical.
Just playing devil's advocate and knowing society and people, I don't know which way to think about this. I've thought about it, so I'm playing just devil's advocate, what can go wrong? Now, Alan's correct in that two directors could make a vote. Now, we don't assume that, you know, with the current people in this, you know, the association, current board members, that anyone's going to be doing anything underhand. But the association does live upon goodwill.
Like society
Because-
in general.
That's right. If a conspiracy theorist was to start jumping up and down, could he create a big enough problem in the association that then disavow, you know, sort of upset a lot of people that actually could destroy the association. That's just devil's advocate.
I don't, this is, whilst it, sorry.
Tim Stephen 5578. Yes, I'd like to mirror the previous gentleman's point exactly. Nobody's suggesting for a minute that those present would do anything like that, but you do have to look for the future, and there's umpteen examples of societies and organisations doing just that. So I would be against lowering the quorum. Sorry.
That's fine. No, that's fine, thank you. And you,
Yeah, I'm dead against this, and I'm one of the people that put together the current constitution. It came out in 2016. It came out on the back of a previous attempt to change the constitution, which the then board got wrong. We withdrew it. We consulted widely on what the new constitution should be like. Some of those who we consulted with are still present, some sadly not. And we came out with a new constitution. You've got to separate this, in my opinion, from the current incumbents, in fact from all of us here. You've got to recognise that what this allows to happen is two people can make a critical decision. Now, yes, it's awkward when you don't have enough directors, but suddenly we've gone to 7 directors. The second thing, and I've already said this to the board, so I'll say it to the meeting, I think a lot more could be done to encourage the membership to come forward as directors. There's insufficient spoken about, written about what's good about being a director, what you get out of it, and I think that that's an effort that needs to be made before we go and change the constitution. If all of those efforts fail, fine, but let's try those things first, and then let's come back and change the constitution second. Now, I was a director for 15 years. I'm quite happy, Greg, to write something to go into SMT about what my 15 years gave me, what I got out of them. And I dare say there's one or two other people who've been directors in the past who would be quite happy to contribute their bits as well. So let's have a go at getting more directors up there rather than change the constitution, because we're just not able to attract the right number of people at the moment.
Well, don't worry about the market. Maybe Alan can answer this as well. That I'm not quite clear, because if they reduce the quorum to 4 from 5, you've still got more than 50% of the current directors, but I'm not quite clear how 2 people can make a decision. Because you've got to have 4 people there.
Because in the articles, the chairman has a casting vote in the event of a tie. So if 2 people were against something and 2 were for it, the chairman then has a casting vote.
So how many people should we have as a full house of directors?
10.
10, okay, so
Three down.
we're still 3 off, so I understand what you're saying
You
there.
can have up to 10.
Yeah.
That's the, yeah. I mean, we've approached this from 2 perspectives. One is to elect other directors. I'm very, very grateful that we've been able to do that. And the second strand of that thinking is around the quorum, and this is not a hill which I'm prepared to die on in that sense. But we are in a sort of age range where sickness, sadly, can hit us. And it would not surprise me, and I include myself in this, if in the short to medium term we would have open directorships. So this is simply trying to make sure the association and its directors can function in a reasonably consistent way. But again, if the meeting and the tenor of the meeting is against changing the Articles of Association, we have alternative routes to move down. And thank you for electing an additional director, because that really helps.
Thank you.
So let's have a quick show of hands then. Who would be in favour of reducing it to 4? One, okay. Who would be against? Okay, so you've spoken, so thank you very much indeed for that. So, yeah, thank you. This is democracy in action.
Just before we move on,
Yes, sir.
taking up Alan's point about the benefits to individual members
Yeah.
of being a director for a period.
Company car, company house, holiday.
No. All I'm thinking, you said that it's now 10.
No, 7.
It's 7.
Yeah, we can have 10.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, we have a board which is composed of directors and officers. Not everybody on the board wants to be a director because it's linked to a specific fiduciary duty.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, of the board, now 7 are directors. So, yeah.
Right, okay.
So we're moving towards the maximum, which is 10.
So not everyone there is a director?
No.
Okay, someone,
Yes.
Okay. No, all I was wondering is, are there roles that we have that we're not covering at the moment?
No, we have
Labels, if you like, for these extra directors, or would they be without portfolio? Is that
No,
feasible?
no,
Just to
yeah.
boost the numbers?
Yeah, no, so every job is covered, but some people are just officers.
There is one vice chair.
Have we good?
McPherson.
Okay. Right.
So yeah, I mean, if there's enough work, if that's what you're worried about.
Can I just say that it seems to me you've already, to some extent, covered this. With the previous resolution, you could have an online EGM if you have an emergency situation where there's no way of creating a quorum.
Sorry. Say it again, sorry.
You could have, with the previous resolution, you could have an online EGM, emergency or
Yeah.
extra AGM,
Yeah.
effectively, if you've got an emergency situation where you can't create a quorum. So I don't understand why you need that.
No, it's if
I understand the points that have been made
in a
about
meeting,
why you want it.
in a meeting, if we don't have enough people, and it's normal things, we can just delay. We'll decide that. But if we need a decision promptly for some external reason, if you do it by this date, we'll give you an X% discount. Then we need to have a vote. But if we didn't have enough people, we just email out. So the directors, as long as they can get to their emails, they can just reply by that.
Which again, I don't see why.
I don't know. So it's not something. It wasn't. We're not going to die on the hill for it. Yeah,
this
it's
is
just
board meeting, not AGM.
Yeah.
No, I understand that.
Yes. So,
Hi, Paul Hinkley.
Hi.
Suggestion, what about hybrid meetings? A possibility?
yes.
But again,
Oh, yes,
the
do
hybrid meeting, and that's all around the annual meeting, which as a company we have to have. So that's covering what we're doing today. And what we're talking about in the quorum of the board are the regular every 2-month board meetings. So it's two different.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Moving on, appointment of appeals panel. This is David Rhodes, Tag Gordon, Roy Castle, Andrew Walker, John Walker Smith, Andy Belcher, and Alan Hargreaves be reappointed. Can I have a proposer, please? No, you can't. No, I was looking at you, but
I actually can.
you can propose your process. And then the seconder. Yes.
They've all confirmed that they're willing to be.
Yes. I need a vote. Show of hands, please. All those in favour. Thank you very much. Lovely.
And there has been no meetings of the appeals.
No. And then finally, the appointment of the accountants, again, Messrs Maynard Johns, Chartered Accountants be reappointed as accountants for the current financial year.
Just to be a precision point here, we are reappointing accountants and not auditors. Sorry, there's a mistake. on the stuff that you receive. So we're accountants. They're not marking their own homework as auditors. They're doing our accounts.
Okay. Proposer, please. Oh,
John Fishford, 2468.
and a seconder, please.
Mike Riley, 4583.
Thank you very much. Show of hands, please. All those in favour? It's lovely. Thank you very much. Okay. Board and officer decisions. So, as you're aware, Alan Regan has been show director for this year and he's been ably assisted by Rick, who's sat from back there. And Rick next year is taking over as show director, and I think they would both agree that having two of them to do the work is very useful, and so it would be great if someone next year could work alongside Rick, share the workload, learn how it goes, and get involved and help. Rick, is there anything you want to add that you want to say?
No, I mean, it would be basically being copied into all the sort of flow that we have, particularly the sort of triumvirate that really have to be to grips with the planning, such as Gary and Justin and so on. And with a view, I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and it would be a view to perhaps taking over as show director 2 or 3 years' time.
And how much have you had to do much this year?
Well, I mean,
and you're selling it here, by the way, Rick.
I'm paying I'm paying tribute to Alan. I mean, there's an enormous amount of organisational memory tied up with Alan, which he's been sharing with me. And I think that for me, going forward next year, it's going to be busy. So at the moment, I can't say exactly how much there would be for the assistant. But it won't be a huge amount until we start to build up sort of the number of layouts that we've got and all the fine detail of stuff that has to go out to the exhibitors in particular. The trades Justin will be handling, but we're going to have to work as a team. Gary will be doing, how many iterations of the plan was it, Gary? 35?
No, I was only 26 this year.
So we started with a plan and then changed it 26 times.
It's getting better every year.
Yeah, you'll get it right one year.
And the other thing about having the assistant show director is that when you're actually running the show, I mean, I've been around helping Alan out in that there's stuff coming in all the time that needs decisions to be made right the way through the show, and all sorts of things that you wouldn't even think about. Guys turning up early in mobility scooters, getting cold outside, are we going to let them in to keep warm, stuff like that. So it's very varied, it's very interesting. It is public facing, you've got to be able to do people because there's a lot of stuff coming in and decisions to be made.
So a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
Public facing.
You've got to be a bit
Patience.
OCD, particularly in the planning phase, but that's, goes with all these jobs. You've got to be absolutely honest. IT skills will be helpful because Alan's sort of Excel spreadsheet, we spent the day together trying for me to learn how to populate all these very, very highly skilled Excel spreadsheets that he's put together. So, yeah, it's a bit of a hard sell, but,
it's interesting and varied. Yes, there we are. So if anyone wants to put their hand up now and offer, lovely to see a hand in the air. If not, come talk to Rick afterwards, talk to myself, talk to anyone else. If there's something.
Drop us an email.
Drop us an email, yeah. Get me any questions. Also, Anne, yes.
And start writing about it in SN2. Start writing about it. Start talking about it on social media. Don't wait for somebody to come and find Rick, because we'll be waiting this time next year.
Yeah.
start selling it, and I can help you with some of the. So, how difficult do you think it is to run this show? How much reward? I don't mean financial reward, because that's zero. How much reward do you think you get out of it? You come to know a whole bunch of people that we didn't know before, like whatever it was, 74 stewards this year, and the layouts, and you get to know a lot more about the people in the organisation, and they get to know a lot more about you. So there's a lot to be said for it. It's hard work, and by the way, it starts straight after the show. The first thing that Rick and the team have got to do is establish what the financial outcome of the show is, and then plan from that, and that's going to start pretty much straight away. So sell it to and use all of the tools at our disposal to sell it to the members, please.
Walking around, you get lots of thanks. Everyone's going, oh, thank you for doing this. Yeah, because they don't want to do it. So, so you're here, you've seen it, thank you. But there'll be people that when you go back, there'll be your friends, people back in there, people back in the local area groups. There's such a wide resource of energy, skills, experience, knowledge that they can bring to this and help out in a little way. And if we can have 2 or 3 people covering a job, it shares the workload and makes it easier for those. So, moving on to that, an assistant IT officer. So Richard has been our IT officer for a number of years, and it's going great, but he could do with some little help, and hopefully with a view to taking over that. The IT world just keeps on doing. Our website has grown, the functionality in that, and Richard's been doing all of that, but there's quite a bit of work involved, and if that could be shared, that'd be great. And there's lots of people out there with IT skills. And if anyone wants to help and step forward on that, that'd be lovely and highly appreciated by not just the board, Richard, but by the whole membership as well. Okay? And, lastly, Ian has just said that he would ideally like to step down in 2 years' time because he thinks it's about time to retire. I know he was looking, he'd like to retire. So, again, someone working alongside to get to know how it all goes through and then eventually look at taking it on. If you work alongside, Rick will tell you this, working alongside someone, knowing how, and James is covering Carol's thing, working alongside someone, you get to know how it's done. So you're not just thrown in at the deep end. It's a nice, easy way where you don't get the responsibility, but you get to do some of the work. And then eventually, when you know how it goes, you can take it over and it becomes a lot easier. So, again, someone step forward now, they'd have a 2-year run in and share some of the workload. Didn't say how old you were. So, as you know, Alan and Carol have been a major part of the association, certainly a major part of the board for how many years, Alan? 15, was it? 18 years. 18.
I became membership secretary in May 2009.
Which is a very long time. He did step down as chairman a few years ago, and he stepped up to do the show director role, but he announced that last year this would be his last year, and Carol's as well, and they're taking a well-deserved break, although they'll still be involved, no doubt, in some way. So, on behalf of the association and the board, can we please show Alan and Carol? So, we had a board meeting a month or so ago, looking at the future direction of the association, and it was everything, and there was no agenda, there was no right or wrong, it's just like, what's going on, what can we do? And all the areas we discussed, all the things that we discussed, okay, and go, what can we as a board do? Well, we don't have a £100,000 budget. We don't have a national, global presence type of thing that we can go out and market and have big resources. What we do have, dotted around the country, are local area groups who do some public-facing things. A lot of them, they'll have open days, they'll do things in their area, and they're our greatest resource, and we haven't tapped into that. So we're going to start to try and get on a regular basis an area group selling themselves in SMT. This is what we do, so it can go out to the general public. This is what we're good at, this is how we do things. So that then there'll be other area groups that, oh, we don't do that, that may be an idea. And it's all cross-fertilisation of ideas, which hopefully then will inspire other groups to do something as well. But they can help grow the association for zero cost, but just by being in there, enthusiastic, someone comes along saying, how do I do this? This is how you do this. I publicly said, my first time I went into a local area group, East Surrey, and I said, I've got this brand new roundhouse loco. What do I do with it? Where does the oil go? Where's the water go? And Peter, who I saw earlier, he showed me, he said, okay, let's have a go. And radio control, it's like, what do I do here? And my first thing was juddering round, but at the end it was going round smoothly. And it was just by two individuals taking a few minutes of their time to show me. And anyone, you'll have had people in your areas, that you've probably done the same, or some other people have done the same. Something goes wrong, you suddenly get a team of people going, there's so much knowledge and skills and enthusiasm, and we want to try and encourage the area groups to do that. So that was the outcome of that meeting, really. We also, Alan, yes.
Bearing in mind we're big Teams users, big Zoom users.
Yes.
And I know other organisations have done this. I know G-Scape has, for example. Have we thought about a one-time Zoom/team meetings and invite area groups to send somebody along?
We haven't, but that's an idea to know.
I'm absolutely certain you wouldn't get every area group to participate.
No.
But if you just got a dozen, if you got half a dozen.
Yeah, I was actually thinking on the same lines. There is no. We see from Bulletin, it seems we're getting more and more area groups.
Yes.
But there's no overall coordination to link it to yourselves as such, and that would be a way of feeding up as well to fill the vacancies and the progressive succession planning that we've been talking about as well, to have area group secretaries, whatever you want to call them, somebody to attend infrequent meetings, a couple of times a year, just to share ideas, feeding stuff down that you may have to disseminate. It's a two-way thing, but it's something that a lot of organisations do, I'm sure, and I've been involved with do, but it's never seemed to happen yet.
Well, the meeting we were going to have, I think, had been sort of on the agenda for years. We need to have a meeting about this, and it just kept on getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And so finally we sort of nailed down we're going to have a...
Another thing we did, I'm looking at Greg specifically, a long time in Gareth's day, we had a postcard from, some of you might remember this, and it was an area group, it was an opportunity for an area group to showcase itself. And it was, generally speaking, pictures, how it gets made out academic. It could be taken beyond that, but it was an opportunity for an area group to basically showcase itself.
I think we're all thinking along the same lines, and we're particularly interested in finding local groups who have developed their own networks and understand how they've had that success. So, yeah, the pictures, absolutely. We'd also like to give them the opportunity to share, you know, their tips and tricks, if you like, about bringing new people into the hobby.
It's not really what the board can do for the area groups, it's what the area groups can do for the board.
So this is yeah, I mean, we have a board, but we also have a confederation of local groups. And I think you're absolutely right, we could use them more effectively.
Don't take my example and set by yourself on
Yeah.
Thanks. No, I think there's a lot that can be gained from the area groups, but I'm also conscious that there are some quite significant areas of population where there isn't an obvious area group. And I think some area groups are perhaps more welcoming and open, or perhaps just do more than other area groups. So I wonder if there's some way
individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of South Manchester, North Cheshire, and there's a Lancashire group, there's a Merseyside group. There's nothing really around there. Now, actually, through Chris Mackenzie and Timber Models, we kind of get together in a gang of us, but we're all scales, all gauges, indoor, outdoor. But it's not an area group, and it's. I've spoken to other people and said maybe we should think about setting up an area group. So neither maybe a buddying system or just an area group on a page. This is how you do it, and perhaps encourage some more to.
There's been some discussions on the 16mm Facebook where there's a group of us and they give themselves a name. I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, they're just friends that get together and run on a Wednesday or whatever day it is, and that's fine. But yes,
but if you're going to make more use of the area groups, then it would be
yes,
perhaps to have a more formal way of doing it.
Yeah, because there are some. If you look in Bulletin, there are some that contribute virtually nothing, and there's some that sort of, probably we could write another 3 pages, but and it's great. No, yes, but some are very active and do a lot of good work, and others could perhaps benefit from the help and the guidance and the example of what the others are doing. So it's not putting it out and saying, hey, this is how you can build.
So we're looking for the interesting, unusual ideas, the people who do more than just get together every Wednesday, and we want to share that experience. So peer-to-peer rather than some top-down or bottom-up.
Future consideration, we've been touching on it, the show, costs, and we are going to look at the end of the day look at the end of the day on the and the costs, and we just hope that it's going to make a profit or break even or very close to it. But if not, there's going to be some difficult decisions and discussions, which a lot of people may not like, and we're not going to like it. But we just, fingers crossed, we've done everything we can. We've cut the cost back as much as possible. If the numbers don't come through, that's it.
Do you happen to know today's attendance?
No, I don't. Sorry,
he does.
Well, I knew what it was. So a rough way of calculating it is how many wristbands have gone out on the pay on the day side. Short answer is about an hour ago it was 1,350 people. So I think something that Rick would really value, and the rest of the board, is when you talk to your buddies who didn't come today, ask them to tell us why. Because we moved it back to Stoneleigh, which the membership was baying for, and it hasn't come. It's 2 years running now.
Don't you think the roadworks had some effect on it? Don't you think the roadworks had some effect on that?
I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. I think it would be good if people told us, and if we got some specific examples. And the roadworks was damn all we could do about that, and we couldn't have known about that when we chose the day.
I mean, when we were at Peterborough, the amount of people said, "Oh, it's at the other side of the country," especially people like the West Country, it's all the way over there. Well, now it's in the middle. But
what were the figures normally? Sorry, Mark. What were the figures normally?
So last year it was 1,510.
Peterborough.
Peterborough, it was over 2,000.
Regularly.
Regularly, but That was pre-COVID. And a personal view is COVID changed some people's view of going out.
Yes.
Now, if that's the case, fine, but it would be good for us to know that, as not assume it. And yes, this has fallen for some areas in the school holidays. But as you all may know, those of you who've got grandchildren, some school holidays are different to others, and they're different in Wales to England, and different in parts of England to other parts of England. Maybe it was that. I don't know, but it would be good not to have to operate in a vacuum. So you guys who know people who didn't come, ask them to let us know why.
I think 2 points. First one is a quick one on the back of what Alan said. You know, I spent some time with Kent members, you know, when we were at shows or talking together, talking up the show as much as possible. As far as I know, I've got at least 3 people up here who weren't going to attend otherwise.
Good, thank you.
And one of them who had a car was moaning about the cost of fuel. He got 3 people to share his fuel bill.
Which was my post the other day on Facebook.
That's one
Share
thing.
it, yeah.
The other thing, looking around the show and listening to the problems with the money, it would be very interesting to me personally, and I think it would be a good starting point for member discussion, if we could have a fuller breakdown, you know, saying we got less membership or less people coming to the show, and the costs have gone up, that's fine, but how much, for example, did we spend on the expenses for getting layouts here? How much did we spend on food vouchers for stewards, and do we really need them? How many stewards have we got? Have we over-stewarded and therefore reduced the number of people who are buying a ticket? I'd like to get a fuller breakdown of the stats on the money, the membership, the stewarding, to try and understand what's going on. And I think also that would be good to put round sooner rather than later, because you know what it's like on the social media. You get people out there, it's this, it's that.
Yeah.
You put the information out there in a black and white form, it can't be argued with, and it gives a good base for discussion of how we can do it better.
Okay. So I'll come to you in a second.
Well, as these guys know, I have that. I've maintained that right from the beginning of the show cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, I don't know off by heart, but it's on my silver device down there, I know line by line what we spent and where we saved on last year. And I know the answer to how many stewards, I just said it earlier, 74. And some of them got 2 vouchers and some got 1 voucher. The layouts get a voucher apiece. Some layouts, one in particular, think that's really mean. And most of them, when I took the vouchers round this morning, they thanked the association for them. But over £1,000 goes in vouchers. And remember, not all the layouts are from the association. And I think it was me that made the suggestion to the board. Maybe part of inviting them is just to show a little welcome maybe. But that's just one line item. We know all of those line items. It's broken down in detail, even knows that as well.
So yeah, we can share that.
I think somebody touched on earlier, the catch of the Easter holidays hasn't helped. And also, unfortunately today is the CTL Seal Open Day in Sheffield. And I nearly went to that instead.
There's always going, whatever day, whatever day, there's always going to be a reason for someone.
I don't know whether
CTL
this
Seal,
is
it's
possible with GDPR, but
they've got quite a rare
Tom would know this. As Membership Secretary, you hold emails for everybody?
Pretty much.
Yes, yeah, the people who
Right.
provide them. and
What about if we had, rather than relying on something in bulletin, which is the other option, but if a 3-question survey, just a little one, not a long one, just a little one. Did you go to the show? If not, why not? Just to get direct members' feedback.
Just be careful with that.
Just, yeah,
Careful you wish
not
for. Yeah.
necessarily the
What
reason
people
they
agree
went
to
Yeah.
when they give their email addresses, and I'm not sure of the wording.
Well, Bill, that's
Well,
where I
yeah,
was.
well,
I was
don't give
Are
me-
you willing to take, to receive communication from
Yeah.
there? Yeah. So I think in general terms, probably yes. And there's a broader question of how we consult the membership, get their input and their ideas, and also tell them, quickly if we need something from them.
I just think that putting the bulletin or the magazine is less effective because people say, oh yes, and then they'll do anything. An email, you tend to respond to it.
We're in my data protection act for the last time. You can't do it yet because we're allowed that we get their consent to communicate with them about their subscription.
Right.
Once you start to cross a line that starts to sound like marketing,
Which
you've got
it
to
is.
get specific consent for that. So Andrew, something you might consider for the next meeting is, and communicate this obviously well in advance, you'd have to speak to Warners to capture another data point. That would cost money possibly. Do you consent to receive other communication from the association?
Could that be sent out to everyone under present legislation, asking everyone to feed back that one question, and then
you could ask them to give their consent.
Yeah. I mean, broader consultation, that we need feedback from the members and that we're going to be doing this on a subject by subject, step by step basis.
Because it's associated with their subscription to the association, and then what they answer.
Yeah. I mean,
some will always say no.
And the easiest way of saying no is not to reply.
The other thing to remember is you can't assume no response means yes.
It has to be positive response. Yeah.
Do this through your area groups. Quite a lot of them will have a monthly newsletter saying, do it through your local groups. Quite a lot of them will have a monthly newsletter like Madam Chairwoman in our place sends out. Get them to put in there, the committee and the organisers want to hear from members about A, B, C. You know, this is where you can email your thoughts on it. So ask the local groups to ask the local people, because that's an email that will get read, and they can feed back to you guys. It's another bit of interaction and positive communication, and it's getting your questionnaire out there.
Yeah, I mean, last time I sent out a thing after the show and I had 5 or 6 responses back. There was one guy lived in Wales, he said I had to go south, west, north, east and whatever to get down.
So they don't teach map reading in Wales, you know?
It was in Wales, it is in Wales, yeah. So, yeah.
I don't know the figures, but I would imagine a significant proportion of members are not in area groups at all. So, you know, you've got to capture that.
Yeah. Okay. Open to the floor. Any questions? Gentlemen here, sorry.
I'd like to emphasise that this is not a criticism. I know all the directors and the officers are busy people. What's happened to the guide to the Telflin Railway?
I can answer that. Thank you. So, my first is not on. We will now pause. It's on. Right. So, a couple of years back, we had the idea of giving something back to the membership based on the reserves that we then had. And we gathered a group of like-minded authors. If you're here in the audience, thank you very much for writing. And we now have a ready-to-go manuscript with all the photos, all the articles. Just requires a final bit of formatting. The problem that we have is that since then our reserves have gone down significantly. So we have, if you like, a manuscript. We wanted to wait until we saw the result of the show before we commit to what would be a piece of expenditure where we could decide yes or no. So currently we're waiting for the feedback from the results of the show, and based on that we will decide whether to distribute it electronically or as a paper-based document. So yeah, thanks very much for your question, because I was the editor of that particular thing.
Thank you.
Hang on a minute, it's one thing. It would cost about £5,000 to print and about £5,000 to post out.
10,000.
Just for your information, and then I'll shut up. We are looking at a way of printing a very small number of example, a small number of the Taniclin thing. Otherwise, perhaps distributing it electronically.
Hi there, I'm Mike Morris, membership number 76. I was been a member ever since the first year of the Society. I've always appreciated what you unpaid people on the board have done in terms of your spare time and the efforts put in. Recently we've had a change of editor of the magazine who has done, to my mind, a brilliant job. He's improved the magazine no end. But unfortunately, I believe he's had a lot of negative comments, well not comments, things on the internet, etc., saying, well, he should have done this, he should have done that. In quite a nasty fashion. Now, I know any society has a situation where you've got the people who will tell you what to do, but they won't do it themselves. They will put the effort in, etc. Now, Greg has, prior to this, his first issue, had asked a lot of people a lot of questions, and he's got a very broad selection of people to deal from, and he's acted on a lot of it, but also he's got his own ideas as well. When he got all these, if I was him and he got all these negative things, I'd have told the lot of you to get stuffed and just, why bother? We all know about the keyboard warriors who were probably lonely people sitting in their bedroom, typing away, criticising anything because they know no one's going to get them by the throat, as if they would say it face to face. So I feel that, well, the fact that we just had some applause makes people here at least realise that he's done a good job and he doesn't deserve this. So absolutely. I think there should be some recognition.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'd like to record a vote of thanks in the minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, lovely.
Hi there, Mike. It's strange hearing your voice, isn't it? As you all probably know, that it's my first time and it's been stressful. I did have grey hair before that, so it's appreciated. I'm a 16mm. I'm not an editor. I like running trains, meths, coal-fired, gas, anything you're out there, you know. So I stepped up because it's a dream to do the mag. I've grown up nearly half of my life, if not a little bit more of it. So I have a bit of a retro style to it, but that's me. So I'm grateful that you're all very pleasant and kind about it, but really I just like to run trains and take pictures about them. So I appreciate everything that people have done, their emails, not nearly all the emails, just a bit. Some have been horrible actually, and you're lucky to have somebody doing it for me, I must admit, and Alan knows that. So I just thanks very much, and if you think that everybody knows how to do that, or that tool that you've got, that you've made, if you've made a coal-fired shovel out of a long coffee teaspoon or a fish knife or something, or you know, you have a satchel where you put all your gas-fired equipment in, your lighters, your little wooden spliffs if you're lighting, if, you know, you have a railway inside, or you... Sorry, that's what I call them anyway. The camera's on as well. I've certainly got a list. So, you know, if you think that everybody, you know, I visit area groups. I went to Northumbria in January, and Yorkshire, I think it was Yorkshire in January, February. Anyway, I'm losing track, aren't I? But I like meeting people, and running trains is my idea. So I know that the first one didn't quite come out correctly, and I can only take, you know, my neck on the line, the things that I didn't know about, because, you know, it's a first time experience for me. So bear with me, May's going to be a pretty good one. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very disappointed. So don't email me, all right? But no, thank you, Mike. Very much appreciated. And, I must just say, if you clap then, you owe me an article, all right? Or a picture. Right, cheers for that.
David Hill, just a quick question. How many postal votes did you get?
So, you mean proxy votes?
Well, yes, or postal votes.
I got 11.
Okay. It's just that you didn't, we waved our hands and everything went through, that was it.
No, they were taken into consideration, and we are legal, strict legal.
Any other questions? Oh.
Not a question, it's actually a bouquet. To whoever compiled the show guide this year, thank you for putting both an alphabetical list of the stands as well as the geographical one, if that makes sense.
The show guide was done by Richard.
The numerical as well as the alphabetical. Both are very, very useful.
It was done by Richard Huss, IT officer.
Yeah.
So
Right, okay, well, thank you.
Okay, with no other questions, I can say thank you very much and formally close the AGM for 2025. Enjoy the rest of the show and hopefully see you next year. Thank you.